everybody. I'm Anita Finley, your host of another exciting and interesting Zoomer Times TV show. And I always have the best looking men on my show, and none other than Anthony. Anthony is just Anthony Kulp. He is so attractive and he's so smart and he's so much fun. And he's been doing real estate, let's say, for many years. We're going to talk to Anthony now. So welcome to our show, Anthony.
Welcome. Thank you for having me.
Hello. Real estate's in your blood, isn't it? I mean, you were a contractor, but you love real estate because you love people, right?
Yeah, I love to help people. It's especially through a very trying time like buying a home. It's one of the most difficult and stressful things you do in life.
Was it the same for you when you were buying your home? Or I know you've bought some investments that no matter how skilled you are, you're still a little nervous, aren't you?
Well, because I was already in the housing industry since I was a teenager, I'm not that particular. When I see it, I know it, and I don't look back. It's like when you buy a new car, don't look at car ads anymore after that. Pay attention to the car you bought. Same with buying a house. Once you buy a house, don't keep looking at houses, because there's always going to be something that may come on after you bought your house, and then you're going to torture yourself thinking I made the wrong choice, and it's just not a good way to go. But me personally, I don't think I've ever made a mistake. I just made do and made lemonade out of lemons, and so I never felt like I made a mistake.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's usually, you have an assortment, of course, and when you deal with a real estate broker as experienced as Anthony, he's only going to show you things after what you tell him you want. Although we know, Anthony, sometimes people think they want something, right, and they can't articulate it, and it's not exactly what they want. They think they want to be on the beach, but really they like it over on a golf course, or they like it somewhere else, or the opposite, right?
Right. So, yeah, you have to help them out. You just have to listen. Talk, put something out there and then listen to what their response is and what their needs are. And say, can you picture yourself living here in 10 years? Because I am a senior real estate specialist, I mainly deal with senior citizens. So you can't look at it for the today, you have to look at it for the tomorrow, 5 years or 10 years, depending how old you are, what your health is like. So, you really have to listen.
Well, the one thing I know we've talked about is that people go in to get a house, they like it, or an apartment, and then they have an opportunity to either pay cash or do a mortgage. Right. And you said to me before, so it's a 30-year mortgage, and they say, what do they say to you and what do you say to them?
Well, I mean, there's a lot of things. Most people, I deal with a lot of condominiums, and a lot of people are downsizing, and they'll say, well, I'm going to pay cash. And I'm not a financial advisor, so I can't advise people on that. But I'll say, well, you should talk to your financial advisor, because you can take a lot of this money, invest it, and then take out a mortgage at a very low, because the rates are so low right now. So just to use round numbers, if somebody they're selling a $300,000 house, and then they're going to buy a $200,000 house, you may be better off putting $200,000 into your portfolio, hoping it's something safe, where you're getting 8% interest, and borrow the rest on a house you're purchasing where you're only paying 3% interest. And also, say you're 75 years old, take out a 30-year mortgage, because your monthly payment on a 30-year mortgage is going to be much less. Somebody may say, well, I'm not going to live for 30 years. But that's not the idea. The idea is bringing that payment down. So now your monthly income has gone up because you invested the $200,000, and then you borrowed the other, say you bought a $200,000 house. You put $100,000 down, you borrowed the other $100,000. But again, that's something for your investment counselor to discuss with you, to show you the ins and outs and the benefits of doing it that way. So.
You're absolutely right. I love that advice. And unfortunately, it's been, I guess it was the way older adults grew up. The most important thing is to have no mortgage on your house. And
Yeah.
they work and work and work to pay it off. And then they sit in that house needing things, wanting things, don't go anywhere. They can't afford everything. And of course, they now have other things that you've talked about that they could do and still have their house. Why don't you share some of that?
Well, another thing that you can do is a reverse mortgage. And a lot of people, when they hear reverse mortgage, think, oh, they're going to take my house. But the reality is, a reverse mortgage is there to keep you in your house. And most of the people who do reverse mortgages are people that are very well off because they see the advantage of, you know, not putting all their capital into a home. And baby boomers, it was always pay the house off, pay the house off. You know, burning the mortgage or the note party. And
Right, burn the mortgage.
that when I was a little kid, my aunt,
Right.
she had a party because she said, "Oh, I paid my house off." But that's not the case today because a lot of people don't have the pensions or Social Security just isn't enough
Right.
anymore. So you have to be creative, but you have to be careful as well. You can't take a lot of money out of your house to live off of, and then the house needs repairs and that money just gets sucked up in repairs. Also, with a reverse mortgage, you don't have to take it as one lump sum. You can just take what you need when you need it. So,
The other thing, though, too, is that people have to make sure they have enough money to pay their taxes because
correct.
that's still required. Taxes, insurance. It's like it is your house, but
Right.
you're just getting, it's like we used to call it a treasure chest. You're living on a treasure chest.
Mhm.
And if you don't take it, you don't need it, one thing. But if you need it, I mean, I've seen people have put off such important things. They don't have any money. Well, they do. It's just in their house.
Right, right. And then trying to, you know, if you need money right away, if you want to refi today, it's going to take 45 days, depending on how much you want to pull out of your property. And a cash out refi, your interest rate is going to be higher than a purchase interest rate. So,
Oh, is that true?
yeah, it's going to be slightly higher. It could be a point higher. You know, taking everything into consideration. You know, how much are you taking out? Um, you know, because the bank looks at it as a little higher risk. You're pulling this equity out of your house. Where if you bought the house and you took the loan out at the time of purchase and put the rest of the money aside, then you know, you get the write off from the mortgage, and you already have your money right there, which hopefully is invested and is making you 8%. But it's funds that you could easily get to if you should need them.
You know, Anthony, let me just give everybody some information. You're talking with Anthony Kulp, and get your pencils out. This is Zoomer Times TV, and you can talk to Anthony at 954-815-9048. 954-815-9048. He says, buy smart, sell smart, and live well. That's his motto, and it is true. He has everyone, I would say most everyone that he sells or buys anything for, his clients, he remains friends with them because he does them right. So let's say they're in their home that he sold them and they're having some problems with their plumbing. They don't know what to do. They're going to call Anthony and he's going to refer and tell them what they should be doing because for years he was in the construction business, and that's why he's such a good realtor, because he has a full spectrum of what he does. I mean, typically a realtor buys something, I mean, helps you buy something, sells or helps you with a mortgage, but after that, they really don't know. In fact, some of them just work part-time. They don't really have the full spectrum of what it takes to be a good real estate agent. But that's not true. I'm so proud to have Anthony Kulp with us, helping all these seniors. And as he said, he is a senior real estate specialist. So he took extra classes to teach him about what seniors worry about, what they like, what they don't like. And there aren't many out there like that. So I'm glad that you're doing this. I'd like to just continue. I noticed that pets have become a big problem with people. They think that they sell their home, but they always say, but I have a pet. What am I going to do? What do you say?
You have to talk to a therapist and see about getting an emotional support animal letter.
Right. And condos, there are a lot of condos that do allow pets now, aren't there?
Newer condos do allow pets. They do have some restrictions on maybe the size of the pet or the weight. But, you know, a lot of people think, oh, it's a scam for me to get an emotional support animal letter. And I'm going to really tug on everyone's heartstrings right now. There's a commercial where there's a little girl in the hospital, and the nurse comes to the door and she says, we have a treatment for you, a treatment for you. And the little girl says, all right. And she puts her arm out ready to get some sort of needle. And they bring a dog in and she just lights up. Now it's a commercial and it's staged, but you cannot say that that doesn't work. I've been to nursing homes where people have dogs that they bring in and people pet, and they're, people who have arthritis, now they're using their hands to pet this animal and they cheer up. And so myself, I have a dog. And when I come home from work, I'm pretty strung out. And the first thing I do is bend over to pet the dog.
Right.
He runs and goes and gets his toy or whatever.
Right.
Well, for that 5 minutes, the only thing I'm thinking about is chasing him around with that toy,
right,
scratching him. And so right away, I get 5 minutes of break and my heart rate goes down.
Right.
I sit down to watch TV, or, he's there next to me and I'm petting him and it calms me. So a lot of people don't understand that that's a form of therapy. The same if you were taking ginseng. Could you imagine a condo association saying, oh, you can live here, but you're not allowed to take ginseng while you're here, or some other natural, Now there's other responsibilities too for the emotional support animal owner. You have to pick up after the dog. The dog or cat, whichever pet it may be, or they're actually not pets, they're emotional service animals. You have to pick up after them. They can't be a nuisance. One of the things that really aggravates me in the morning when I'm walking is how many people don't know how to walk their dog. They walk the dog's on their left side, the leash is 10 feet out, and people don't understand the dog is supposed to be to your right, away from other people, and towards the side and right on your side, and not 6 or 10 feet above, ahead of you or behind you. The dog can't be aggressive. You can't bring a dog into a restaurant and hold them and feed them at the table. And so there's a lot of bad things that you hear about emotional support animals, but there's a lot of bad things you hear about everything. And people just need to be a little bit more educated. The state just passed a bill in March, and it became active in July. Which limited condos and homeowners associations on what they can actually ask now. They can't ask what the ailment is for. They can't ask how long will this ailment last. Pretty much the only thing they're allowed to ask is, what does this dog do for you? And all you have to say, it calms me. And that's really the answer. You don't have to go in to your medical history. And if they do ask that or deny you because they don't feel you answered it correctly, they can be in a lot of trouble. The state is on your side in this situation.
I wonder who made that happen, Anthony. Did you? Because you've been very strong on this.
No, the legislature. I just found out about it. I don't know who originally introduced the bill, but like I said, it passed in March and it came into effect in July.
Wow, thank you. That was worth the whole interview now, because people really know. I'm glad you told me that. I live in a condo where people have dogs. The only funny thing, and I don't care, when they come in, they're supposed to have small dogs like you and I have, and then sometimes the dogs grow big. And I've seen some big, Dalmatians.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't care. And they're not wild dogs, but they've tried to limit them. But it doesn't, I'm not one of those kind of people that pick on things, but I guess.
Animal could be a Great Dane. It could be a Great Dane. It could be a Chihuahua. The condominium or homeowners association or co-op, they can't, once it's an emotional support animal, they can't regulate how big or how heavy.
Oh, I didn't know that. So that's something else you just told us.
Right. So.
Okay. And where do they get this emotional support document from?
Well, you can get it from a social worker, your regular doctor, a therapist, a licensed clinical social worker. If you go on the House bill, I can't pull it up right now because we're on the meeting, but if you look up the House bill, it gives you a list of the people who have the authority to write these letters.
Huh?
The other thing that condos can't do, and they're going to really push it on you, they cannot ask you to fill out all this information about the animal. The letter itself is enough. And you know, there's an application that one association keeps putting out, and I said to some customers, if you feel free to fill it out and give them that information, go ahead. Well, that association, which I dealt with several times with emotional support animals, then sends a letter from an attorney. The attorney is asking the same questions that they've already submitted. Now, to me, that's a form of harassment. It's not harassing one person over and over again, but they're harassing every person who applies. And I think pretty soon that's going to come to an end with them.
Well, that's interesting. I do have another question since we're talking about the condos and all. They have been known to deny people.
Mm-hmm.
What are the reasons that people can be denied?
Well, condominiums, they can say you have to have at least a 720 credit score, you have to have a certain amount of income, you know, of course, no felonies, you know, stuff like that. But they're limited. I think it's unfair to say you have to have a 720 credit score. There are plenty of people out there that have a 680 or 650 credit score that maybe they missed a payment once. I mean, how many people have missed a car payment, a mortgage payment? They got there a little late, or it was over the holidays and the payment sat in their mailroom for 2 or 3 days. And when they opened it, you know, they said, oh, well, you paid it late. Well, if that ever happens to you, ask them to send you the envelope with the postmark, because it actually goes by the postmark and not the day they opened it or received it.
That's good.
Yeah, and they'll always say, oh, well, we throw the envelope away. And you say, well, but that's not how the federal government looks at it. It's from the postmark. It's like your tax returns. Your tax return has to be postmarked by April 15th. So
I see. Well, that's some very good information. Of course, every time Anthony puts his ad in Boomer Times, he usually shows a couple of properties, which are hot, as I say. He finds some that he has listings on that are really very economical. He does specialize in Palm Air, but as he says, he'll go anywhere in South Florida. It's just, if you haven't been to Palm Air, you ought to call him if you are looking for any property. And he really knows Palm Air. He lives in Palm Air. It's centrally located, if you think about South Florida, from Miami up to Palm Beach. It's
right.
kind of in the middle, and it's has a great reputation, right, Anthony?
We're in between the Turnpike and 95. It's a golf course community, but you don't have to join the course. You don't have to pay any equity fees. But the clubhouse dining rooms are open to the public. We have the Isle Casino right across the street from us, which they're getting to redevelop that. You know, Walmart is there, Atlantic Boulevard. The beach is right 10 minutes down Atlantic, which is a beautiful beach that they just redid everything. And it's so convenient. You can pull right up to the sidewalk, get out, cross the sidewalk, walk right onto the beach. They just reopened the pier, which we have a beautiful pier. But we also have a parking garage, which is only 1 block from the beach. So they're limiting the height of buildings that can be built so they don't shade the beach or overcrowd the area. So anybody, if you get a chance, go and visit Pompano Beach. Now there's 3 restaurants right there on the beach. And I think it's one of the best beaches in South Florida. It has a smaller beach town feel to it.
Would you get off at Copans Road?
If Copans to Federal, you would have to go south on Federal and then across the 14th Street Causeway.
Or Atlantic? Which one is Atlantic?
Atlantic, and then go east on Atlantic, and make sure you turn before you drive into the ocean. So.
Right, don't drink and drive. That's funny. Okay, well, we we've covering a lot of things, but you said that, I mean, I was told that the real estate market is very hot right now, that people are finding there aren't a lot of properties to buy.
Correct.
Why is that?
Well, one of the reasons more people live here than ever before year round. And people don't sell their where they live year round as often as a vacation home. Um, so that's a big reason. If you just look at the amount of available homes throughout, Broward County alone, you and then looked at how many there were 5 years ago, you'd see a big drop. I don't have those statistics in front of me right now. In Palm Air, where I do sell a lot of stuff, 4 or 5 years ago, there would be at any time 320, 340 units on the market out of
Really?
6,000 homes in total. Now there may be 150, 140. So, and the other thing is people want places that are redone. There are not many people that want to buy a place and go through the hassle of redoing it. It's very difficult. It's difficult dealing with the condo. It's difficult dealing with the city. So they want it done, and they want it done nicely. So, and the sellers are getting top dollar for it.
Hmm. You know, you're so right. I have a cousin who lives in Miami, and she's lived in one of those big high rises in North Miami Beach. And so she decided it's a 1 bedroom. She wanted to get a 2 bedroom because she has grandchildren. She wants them to visit and all. Wow. She bought one. She thought she was smart. She bought one that had a lot of repairs to be made. Boy, did she. And so she got a good price, of course, because they were happy to get out and not make them.
Right.
It wasn't worth it for her. She's going crazy to try to do just what you said. It's just too much.
Yeah. And it's upsetting to neighbors if you're jackhammering tile up and people live below you. It's not comfortable for them. And it's also cheaper to buy a place that has been remodeled than to buy a place and remodel it. So somebody may have put in a $30,000 kitchen, but that only increased the value of the home by say 18,000. So yeah, it's much better to buy it, renovate it, than to go through it yourself.
And one thing you've told me, and I wasn't aware of this until I really met you and all that. I thought that Palm Air was only condos, but you telling me they're homes, townhouses, it's a mixed bag.
Right. We have everything from efficiencies to million plus single family homes. So we have quite an array of property in Palm Air.
And the one thing too is it's not 55 plus, right? Any age?
It is not. Even a lot of realtors think it's 55 plus, but it is not.
Okay, you have a lot of older people there, but you don't have to be older. And what about the amenities? Talk about them at Palm Air.
Well, one of the great things in Palm Air, we don't own the roads. So we don't have to collect reserves to replace the roads when the time comes. They're maintained by the city. We have a park, a city park right in the middle of Palm Air, which we don't have to pay for that, but of course we get to use it. We have a Publix right inside Palm Air. So you don't even have to leave the community to go to Publix. We have the Skolnick Center, which is a large community center, Pompano Community Center, which is right in Palm Air. And as a matter of fact, they just gave COVID shots Saturday, Sunday, and Monday.
Really?
And the management company sent out emails to the residents of Palm Air saying, if you're 65 or older, and you sign up on this sheet, you can receive your COVID shot at the Skolnick Center. Well, that parking lot was packed Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, and they were even there on Tuesday, which they weren't supposed to. But I realized that they must have opened it to other people as well. So
yeah, I was going to ask that. So it was anybody who was over 65.
Right, but it was very well organized with the residents of Palm Air. They were really given the heads up early that they could go and get vaccinated there.
Well, that's very good news. I'm glad you shared that with me. Good for them. Well, that's what you're telling me. So it's really an active location with people who care, because the Skolnick Center is pretty famous for all its presentations, attractions, everything it does. And you're, I guess you're well known there because you've been there for so long. Too young though to get the vaccine.
I have, I do a lot of advertising in Palm Air, social events, but most of my business is through referrals. So
I would think that's true.
my advertising has been bringing in customers that I typically would not have access to, but the majority of it is through referrals. And
Yeah, well, I think that's in any business you're in. You know, if you like it, if you like what they do, you refer people.
yeah,
I know that you've referred a few ads to me. I've tried to follow up, but I haven't been able to get them to respond, but I have to keep working on it.
right.
But it's, you know, business is different right now with COVID. And do you find a lot of the people there, everyone has to wear a mask, right?
hmm hmm There's
And
hand sanitizers in lobbies. People will put out hand sanitizers when you walk in the door. People don't touch things as much as they used to. The seller will leave doors open, um, so people don't have to touch the door to open it. If somebody is really precautious, we'll wipe things down, where I'll use hand sanitizer and close everything and light switches before I leave.
right. Okay, well, we don't want you to be late, so it's now 1:11, and Dan's been very good about this. We hope you make the sale or that you get what you're going for, Anthony. Let me give Anthony's phone number one more time. It's Anthony Michael Kulp, Kulp. Phone number is 954-815-9048. 954-815-9048. And if you want to share this Zoomer Times interview, we have them and we send them out. So you can look for it in Boomer Times under the Zoomer Times, and we do send them. So Anthony, thank you so much, and I hope your dog's doing well.
He's doing great. He's still progressing. He's coming around, but he's doing great. He's very
good. Thank you. Okay, we'll talk to you again.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.